Okay, so welcome to Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. This is a remake of the classic, updated graphics, all stuff like that. It was literally released today. And this is going to be like a first impressions type video alongside actually taking down the first boss. So you can see here that I'm going through. I didn't manage to pre-order the game, but I did get access to the Electron Skins pack. The game cost £35, although if you want to get a deluxe edition, I think it's the Nitrous Oxide edition, you pay an extra £20, you get like 4 extra characters and some other skins. There is a shop in-game which uses the coin currency you can earn through racing, and there's a classic mode to the game, along with the Nitro-Fueled, which is the more up-to-date one. I tried to find an online race, but the game wasn't having any of it. I couldn't find, well, I found some players, but they soon left. And you can see here I'm going through the customization of the different characters, like setting up my kart for the adventure. And in terms of loading screens on this game, I would compare it to something along the lines of GTA, where you're sat in the cloud for 2 hours, or Fortnite, where you have to listen to the intro music for like 6 weeks. In other words, the loading screens take ages. You're sat there looking at the same hint over and over and over again until you eventually get put into the game. Okay, so we now get to look at the graphics. I skip it because I'm not interested in cutscenes. We get put into the game world. I'm getting used to the buttons because on Xbox it's A to accelerate, X to handbrake, left and right bumper to like jump and essentially get like turbo boosts. But we headed into the first level, accompanied by another really long loading screen. So we eventually get to skip and we are put into our very first race. I don't know what is going on with them speed boosts when you start. I will eventually get the hang of them. I'm trying to get used to all the power sliding around corners and speed boosts and stuff like that, because I'm hoping that the player base will pick up and will eventually find an online match. And one thing with all of these types of games, you do want to pay attention to the loading screens because they can give some useful tips. Without them, I wouldn't have known that you can hold your left stick backwards and then press B to drop one of the bombs behind you. And the races in this game don't seem to take too long. You can see we got an achievement there for doing a super boost. The races average maybe 2, possibly 3 minutes. And not only that, I like the idea of the adventure mode. It's kind of like a story, there's secrets and stuff, there's different challenges to do. It's not just simply doing races. So there we go, we won our very first race. Another achievement, off to a good start. Win your first race in the adventure mode. We won it by just under 2 seconds. We managed to unlock Blue Cocoa. We got 20 coins, and if they were to carry on at that rate, I don't think we would ever get an unlock from the shop. But luckily enough, later on in the game, it does start to increase with the amount you earn per race. So there's our very first trophy. So now we're back in the world. We're going to look for the next race to do. You can see the little mini-map on the right-hand side. The blue flashing circles are the races we can do next. The fast-forward symbols are different areas you can go to. The green rectangle looking thing is a save and load point, and the star is the final boss. Don't worry if you don't manage to get all the collectibles and stuff when you first go through a race, because you can come back to them at any time you want and take down the separate challenges. So we're now on to the next race. This one is called Rouge Tubes. We get a nice little speed boost from the get-go. And this is probably my favourite race out of the beginning ones. Just because we're in underwater tubes, you can see all the different creatures and stuff. You've got whales, different types of fish. You can see we get a nice double takedown with the rockets there. I'm jumping all over the place, still trying to get used to that speed boost you get around corners and things. And you also get like a skill boost if you jump off a high ledge. Your character will basically swing their legs out to the side, or at least Coco does. And then you can see a meter above the boost one at the bottom on the right hand side. I think there's a certain area that has to hit in order to get a boost. You can see their legs go out, we get a little speed boost from it. This race actually took several attempts because for some reason I just couldn't get into first place. You have different stats with some of the characters, like some will have better acceleration than others, better speed, better turning. But I thought I'd try the first area with Coco, and I think for the second area I will switch out to using Crash, just because he's more of a balanced type. Okay, so we've come third in our very first attempt on that track. We've got 17 coins, and we're going to retry, wait through the really long loading screen, which isn't actually that long during a race. Begin the race again, we lose a few more times, but we eventually crack it. So we're power sliding through the final lap. We managed to win the race. We get 20 coins for it, we continue, go through the loading screen, we get our next trophy, do a little dance on the podium as always, we unlocked ourselves some new wheels, and we are off to do the next race. Okay, so this one is called Mystery Caves. I actually found a shortcut. You'll see as we go over that first river, to the left there is a little shortcut. I don't know if it's going to be beneficial every single time because it's a little bit slimy. It's like sludgy sort of stuff, you don't necessarily go quicker. But at the moment we're only racing against a computer. And it just seems to be good to change up the route a little bit. Okay, so we've got a massive jump there, nice little speed boost. I had to replay this one a few times because I'm not the best at this game. But we do manage to cross the finish line in first place, with a fairly big gap between us and the next racer. 2 minutes 44 is our finish time for that track. We got 40 coins that time. We continue, loading screen, get our trophy, unlock a couple of things here and there, onto the next race. Okay, so this is the fourth and final race of this area called Sewer Speedway. The last race we have to do before we can take down the first boss. This one mixes things up a little bit. There are a few different routes you can take here and there. A little tip about the TNT, which you would have just seen. If you react fast enough and you keep jumping up and down, you can actually knock the TNT box off your head before it explodes. These little green bubble shields, as you can see, you can fire it in front of yourself, then get flattened by a barrel going up and down the side of the track. Okay, so we're coming around the final corner, we do a jump, spread our legs, cross the finish line, very close to Dingo Dial. We got 40 coins for doing the race, we also get an achievement pop up there, photo finish, win a race with less than 0.3 seconds between you and second place. And we now have some absolute nut job, jumping on a pile of TNT, and this guy is called Ripperoo. He turns blue from the explosion somehow. Don't know how that works, but it does. And he is off through his little special boss door. We unlock ourselves the Team Bandicoot cart. And it's now time for Ripperoo's challenge. Okay, we're back in Rouge Tubes. And you'll see very close to the beginning of the race I mess up badly. You'll see here where I mess up. I chuck that in front of me and end up driving into my own, like, poison, I don't know what you would call it. But it spins me out. That was a very big mistake at the start of the race. But for some reason, Ripperoo is the easiest opponent to face on this game. His ability, if you call it that for a boss, is to constantly drop TNT barrels behind him. Although most of the race I'm out in front, so we have no troubles. And at the end you'll see an achievement we got for not being touched by one of the boss's power-ups. I find it somewhat weird how the boss race, the very first one, is more forgiving than the races leading up to it. But there's the end, 1 minute 42. There's the achievement pop-up, crazier than the Ripper. In other words, beat Ripperoo in adventure mode. We got 20 coins for that one. Another achievement, Expert Dodger. Win a boss challenge without getting hit by any of the boss's power-ups. Then we get another cutscene of him doing his crazy laugh. And he talks about us thinking we can beat Oxide. He gives us our very first key. He disappears, we get a loading screen. And that is us past the very first area of the game. Okay, so you can see the key going into the door there. That is the next area opening up. Congratulations, you've unlocked the new area. You'll find 4 more tracks to race. Good luck. We've unlocked Ripperoo. We can now race with him. And we got the orange paint job. We also got the Ripperoo sticker. And there we go. So the rest of this, like my time playing the game at the moment, was just driving around the new areas, checking them out. But you can see that after we've done all 4 of the races, we can now go back to any of them in any order and do the other parts. So you get the CTR challenges, you can go for the relic race, and then you move on to the next area after doing, like, I wouldn't really say they're collectibles, but they're different challenges within the races. And I don't think there's any extras. There's no reason to go back in and do the boss race again. So I saved the game from here on. Haven't done any more races yet, but I will be coming back to it. First impressions, I wouldn't say the game is really worth 35 quid, or an extra 20 on top of that for a few more characters, but maybe it might feel more worth the money if the online eventually gives me a race or two, if people actually start playing it online. But just for the adventure mode, I would probably give this game a price tag of about 20 quid. So I'm hoping online actually gives me some value, some fun, entertainment for the money I spent on it. But for my first impressions on taking down Ripperoo, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.